Good day, good evening, whenever you folks are watching this. I got a new tool, and I'm going to show you how to set one of these things up. It's a fairly simple process. Things you're going to need some wrenches, or in my case I'm going to be using a pair of vice grips and a pair of Knipex Cobras, fittings, and thread sealing tape. I just thought I'd throw this video out there, see if anybody would like it. But yeah, as some of you know, I've had a house fire, and one of the things that got broken and damaged was my impact. So most every tool is going to come with some sort of an owner's manual. I know from my last Chicago pneumatic that I had that they actually give you a parts list. So if you actually find a authorized dealer in your area, you can actually take the parts numbers down, and if they still make the parts, they can get you parts. This is exactly the same thing that I had before, that I literally beat the tar out of. Like I told the guy that was trying to offer me the replacement warranty for damage, I'm like, what your warranty doesn't cover is what I need the darn warranty for. He's like, oh really? I'm like, yeah, I had one of these before and demolished the darn thing. Literally threw it across my driveway. So it comes with no fitting. Well, it comes with a plug. Just get it started on the turnout and then it pops right out. Now, depending on what style fittings you have, whether you got some sort of a legacy fitting or something, you're going to need to figure out what fittings you need. Now, this takes a 1/4 inch. That doesn't look like a 1/4 inch, does it? No, it's not. I'm putting a 1/4 inch MPT fitting on. All my equipment that I run is of the Milton M style, or if you buy your fittings at Harbor Freight, it's that IM style. So just keep that in mind. Milton's not the only manufacturer of these. I just went with Milton's because the hole, I find that the holes in the Milton fittings are bigger, so I don't have to hog them out. I mean, if you don't mind spending some time with a bench vise and a drill and a set of drill bits to hog out the hole to make it bigger, be my guest. Go and buy some fittings. I'm just being lazy in this case. That and, you know, $200 impact tool, why not put good fittings on it? Actually, I'm trying to make this as long as possible because it's fairly self-explanatory. You always want to put the thread tape in the direction that you screw it on. And I generally put way too much on, personally. But that's just me. I just put way too much on. I know I do. I usually end up paying for it later with everything leaking. But make bloody sure that got it straight. Now, you want to make sure that you're not blocking your hole on this end with the tape, especially since you don't want any debris down in there. I mean, I don't care if it's some $30 Harbor Freight special tool that, you know, you bought on closeout, or you bought a $800 Snap-on gun off the Snap-on truck. You don't want to be freaking cramming junk into your brand new tools. You want to make them last as long as possible. You know, I mean, I do realize that the guys that are out there on the budget, yeah, they're going to buy more of the Harbor Freight tools, but still, you can make them last longer. Just take care of them. They'll last a long time. I mean, most of the time, these things will outlive your kids if you treat them right. Or if you're like me, you end up buying a new one every 3 years. Why? Because I make the darn thing do work. Now, I'm probably going to put this in with the Knipex. Yep. And I'm going to open up the Knipex till I can really get it gripping in there. Lovely, lovely tools. If I had the money, I'd buy the whole bloody set. And my pair of welding vice grips. Funny story with these. I went over to Harbor Freight. This was back when I was in college. I was trying to save money. And, you know, you're in college, yeah. And I just went to Harbor Freight and I bought a pair of vice grips just to have so I could move material around on my table. Well, I could get them closed, but they'd never open. And I'd spend more time trying to get the darn things to open up than what it was worth. And ironically, I went and I had them on the table all the time. They did not get any weld spatter on them at all. At all. So I go over to Sears. At the time, there was still Sears here in Fargo. And ironically, it was a bunch of ladies that were working in the tool section that day, and they're like, you know, you should get the one with the hand grips. I'm like, that's nice, but I'd burn the things off. And they're like, well, what industry are you in? I'm like, I'm in welding. And they're like, oh, that's understandable. You gotta realize that not all women are inept when it comes to tools. They actually do know what the hell hammer's used for. So, and I'll tell you this much, I've met some women that can pull a small block Chevy out of a truck one day, tear it down the next, and put it back in the truck the day after that. So, back to this. I've got the tool clamped up in the vice grips. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start tightening this thing down. Tighten the fitting down. And make sure you get this nice and tight, because this is the... I don't know about you, but I typically do not like hearing that horrible hissing noise that comes from leaky air tools. That's just my personal opinion. I hate that noise. I just do. So, I try and eliminate that noise as much as possible. Plus, it's a lot easier on your compressor, because you're not having to cycle the compressor all the time. That, and, you know, an air compressor is a big investment. Think about it. Even the ones down at Harbor Freight, the oilless ones, you can run into $150 right there, just for a simple 8-gallon compressor. So, we got it all together, and had a bit of a chat. Please comment, rate, subscribe. And like I said, make sure you're good to your air tools. Oh, another thing you're going to want to do. Put some sort of oil in it, you know, just right down there. Couple drops. Don't. I actually learned this one from a guy who did maintenance. College bred maintenance person. You don't want to put too much oil in, because you can actually blow the seals inside the gun. So yes, you do get that quick burst of extra power, but know that you are going to at some point blow out the seals. I mean, I remember I would load these things up to where you pull the trigger and you'd have fog. This oil fog just pouring out the exhaust. Yeah, I typically don't do that anymore, just for that reason. So, yeah, don't under-oil your tools, don't over-oil your tools. Like on this one's actually got a port where you put grease in for the hammers. Now, you're kind of wondering, why would you put grease in the hammers? It's so that it softens the blow from the hammer onto the anvil, because as these get older, without the oil, without the grease softening that blow, they can actually create micro cracks inside the material, and they can actually snap in half inside here, and there goes your tool. Longevity of tools. You know, I don't care if it's like I said, the cheapest $30 Harbor Freight tool made. or if it's some Ingersoll Rand half-inch ooh la la gun that you've spent $700 on. Maintenance goes a long ways. Now, another big thing is usually the bottom end tools do not come pre-lubed. The mid-range tools, some of them come pre-lubed, some of them don't. I typically go on the premise with the mid-range tools that they're typically not, unless they say in the owner's manual that they are. And I always oil these. And your high-end tools, actually some of the high-end tools can come without oil, just under the premise that they don't know what oil you're running in your air system. Are you running a clean air system? Are you running an oiled system? Are you running a system where it's straight from tank? Is it a system where you're going through multiple dryers and then an oiler and a air water separator system? And the whole thing about that is that on the industrial side, unless they're marked, they usually do come with a little bit of oil in the lines, and that's usually just from the compressor itself, not not from an actual oiler, but from the compressor itself. So keep that in mind, but I'd still recommend air tool oil, some sort of a tool oil to lubricate the vanes and the internal bearings that go for the air motor, because this portion of it that feeds air in, this is called an air motor. So keep that in mind. Maintenance on tools is imperative to the longevity of tools. And it's not just your power tools, your hand tools as well. I'll get into that in a later video. But I just kind of wanted to blab your face off and ooh la la you with putting a fitting on a tool. You know, I guess for me it's I've always liked putting, you know, opening the box, you know, it's that unboxing therapy thing. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Subscribe for more videos. I really want to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I know I've not been posting, but thanks for watching. Thanks for those people that are continuing to support the channel, both through YouTube and on the outside. There are those people. Thanks again. And please comment, rate, subscribe. See you on the next one.